Good evening, everyone. We are live. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, Unsung Tears. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to just wait a couple minutes, minute or two, so we can have some people join us. Um, and just for those that join us late, know that this is recorded. So we're going to have it on my YouTube channel so people can catch it there. If they miss any of this, wonderful conversation, this KAMDI Candid Conversation with Montrel. You can catch this on my YouTube channel under my name, Tanya Hawley. So welcome, welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Sorry, we're a few minutes behind, but we're going to catch up. If you are just joining us, be sure you hit the StreamYard link so we can see your name. Post a comment so I know who's here and let Montrel know where you're from. We got a few people joining us. Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a formal introduction, Mr. Montrel. I am very excited to have my friend this evening, recording artist, songwriter, producer, award-winning, Mr. Black Soul himself, Montrel Darrett. Thank
Hello.
you. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Hey.
Welcome. welcome. I'm so excited to have you. We've been talking for quite some time, and I'm glad I'm able to ask the questions to you and share you with the world.
Well, thank you, Tanya.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. So if you're joining us, John Cunningham says hello. Thank you. Let us know where you're from, where you're logging in from, or where you are stationed. Let us know so Montrel knows. And Unsung Tears, anyone joining us, be sure you hit StreamYard at the top in the link so your name will show. Otherwise, we won't know who's commenting. So we're going to dive right in. And let's just start. I always start from the beginning, Montrel. And you are our first new artist spotlight. We've been doing a lot of our legends, but we decided we want to show everybody some new talent. So right. you kind of, you in between. We'll tell the story in a minute, but for a lot of people, you're new. So, and I wanted to definitely introduce you. So Montrel, let's start at the very beginning. I'm going to let you walk through this. Let's go back to the beginning and tell us how this all started. What made you interested in music? Take us way back to when it initiated.
Well, I started with my mother. I was 4 years old. I guess I was considered sort of music prodigy, what they call it. I now play 5 different instruments, but then I played the drums and guitar, bass. Started at 5 years old and kind of went off from there. My mother, created a little group when we was younger, and I had 4 siblings, and we all started singing together. Used to go around singing Black Expos and, winning a lot of the talent shows. And, my mother saw fit just that she was a musician at the church, and she traveled a lot, played with a lot of people. And my father was also a bass player, played in clubs a lot. My uncles all played, my grandfather. So it was kind of natural, I guess it was just in genes. So I've been doing music ever since I was like 4 or 5 years old. Started writing at that age also. And so, it just kind of kept flowing. I went in, came out of high school, had a lot of college offers to go play football, and I bypassed them, got in a little trouble.
Okay. So
instead of going to college and playing football, I ended up going into the military, going into the Navy.
Okay.
And doing that, got caught up in the war. But it was at that time I recognized, music was something that I really loved. I was really passionate about it. Did a lot of writing in the military, a lot of shooting, different things. So just kind of kept going from the age of about 4 or 5. Love,
Now let's back up just a minute because you kind of skimmed over something I want you to touch on. I was going to ask you later, but since you mentioned it, you said you play several instruments. What instruments do you play? Can you name them for us so everyone knows? Because you are very talented. I want them to know.
Yeah, I play guitar, I play bass, I play drums, play piano, keyboard, organ, harmonica, and I play a little violin.
Wow. I should have said, what don't you play? That would have been easier.
Yeah, and some I play more fluent than others, but I play everything well enough. So
Well enough. Okay.
you know,
Did you hear that, y'all? He said he plays well enough. I love it. I
uh,
love it. So we've got, I'm just looking at it because I'll be reading. If there's any questions or comments, everyone feel free to post them and I will get them to Montrel. We've got New York in the house. We've
what's up,
got
New York?
Atlanta.
Yeah,
Yes. Hi, Tina. Tina's from Atlanta. Um, Song King, you got to tell us where you're from so I can tell Montrel. I know who Song King is. Another very talented person, writer.
right.
So, okay, so that we just have people saying hello right now. So I just wanted to make sure I gave them credit. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah,
Again, let us know where you're from if you're joining us, and please ask your questions or comments, and I will definitely read them to Montrel. He can answer them. Okay, so you said a lot in that little bit, Montrel, that you skimmed over, and I don't want you to skip anything. So you went from performing with your parents, and we know where the musical influence came from, because it sounds like both sides of your mother and father and family, everybody was doing some kind of music thing. So you definitely were influenced by that.
right,
And then you said you ended up in the service, the Navy, right?
right. Navy.
So some things happened in between there. You went from school to playing football, and from what I remember, you're very good in athletics.
Yeah, I was third in the nation at linebacker. I was like 6 feet, about 210 pounds. I ran like a 4.40, so 3% body fat, and then I had scholarship offers also in wrestling and track, just an athlete, just all around athlete. That's what I thought I would do,
Right.
and because I got caught up and started selling a little dope, and did the things kind of coming out of the hood, some things that are expected of young black men, which is a bad thing, but it's sad that some things are expected when you're coming out of inner city or what they call the hood, or ghetto life or what have you. And I didn't have no father growing up, so my expectations of myself was what I saw, from tracks that was my peers or my elders. They were doing what they had, what I wanted to have. They were just a little bit older than me, so I did what followed, to get what I had to get. So that ended up landing me in jail, and I ended up going to the military, and instead of going to the league or college, to go to the league.
That was your escape, it sounds like, for that lifestyle.
It really was. Didn't know it then, but I think it was because it was at that point in the Navy. I met God. I met God in a different way. I was reared in the church. My mother brought me up in the church, but again, just without a father, it's hard for young men to kind of steer in a way, and it's hard for a mother to raise boys, in the project, man. I mean, there was several times, man, I was shot, I had guns put to my head, stabbed up, kind of city life. Yeah, just a lot of that. I did it. And different from the story of the guy down the street, who did the same, went through the same thing. I think the thing that kept me, Tanya, was, I really think the hand of God was over my life. And some people don't really like to talk about it, because to some people it's just like, okay, God, he's just a deity, but really there's so much more to me than that, because I look back in my life, I'm like, man, I can specifically see times when I would have been done. I would have been done, not just from getting, putting them hands on somebody putting them hands on me, or getting shot at, or shooting somebody, or getting stabbed up, or just fighting, just having to try to get out. And I know times, man, that my mother would cry, like, "When you go get all those killed?" People try to come in my house and take over my house as a drug house. And I'm like, I'm the only boy there because my brother out selling dope and he on drugs, and I'm 14, 15 years old. I got to stand up and protect what I feel is mine. So at that point, I learned, how to shoot the gip, so to speak, run my mouth, or I learned, I was a wrestler in high school. I boxed ever since I was 7. So I kind of, I knew how to get out and take care of mine, but it became more than fighting.
Yes.
gunplay and other kind of stuff. So it was at that point I really needed God. My mama, she was working 3 jobs. And so it was at that point, I learned, I fell into music heavy then. But again, because of the things that happened,
Mm-hmm.
God, I think God led me that way. Because again, I didn't have a father. So I believe that it was specifically the hand of God and me listening, saying, hey, if you want to make it out, this is what you're going to have to do. And so I joined the military, and then I had a baby at 17. So my mama wasn't having me. She's like, well, you ain't going to be a no fit, and no good, no father. You're going to take care of that. I ain't going to take care of it for you. So I had to make some money.
Okay. Wow. Thank you for being so candid. You touched on a lot of things. I appreciate your candidness and you sharing all of that with us. Before I move on to the next part of this, so James Day, that's who Song King is. James Day from Boston is tuning in.
What's up, James?
James, yes. That's my buddy too. Yes, he has written some songs for a lot of artists like Glenn Jones.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. Glenn
Yes.
Jones in the world. One of my favorite, hands down. He know that now.
Yes. Well, he's asking you, and we're going to touch on this. And I'm going to read a question and we'll come to it later, actually. Montrel, are you making your own records or writing, producing for other artists? So let's hold that. We're going to answer that, James, in just a few minutes when we get to that part. And yeah, we'll answer that because there's a lot to Montrel I want to get to. So, okay, so you go to the service. Now tell us, you go to the Navy, and I know some things happened there. You touched on it a little bit, but you kind of had a transformation there, right? Someone talking to you. Can you talk about that just a little bit for me, please?
Yeah. After boot camp, I came back home, and then I went to A school. A school's in San Diego, California. I went there to be I'm a licensed chef as well. So I came out of A school and went straight to my shipyard, which is the USS CV-62 Independence, a carrier which is now deployed. I mean, in the junkyard, scrapyard.
Okay.
Get away with it. But I was on the carrier, which holds about 6,000 men. I got there. The first day I walked on the ship, it looked like it's like 2 football fields yard, 2 football fields long. It's about 200 yards. You can imagine the football field is like 100 yards long. So you imagine it's like a little city. You got 6,000 men being Marines and officers and regular shipmates, just Navy men. Mm-hmm. So I go to the ship, and I'm fresh. And I'm going on there like, oh my God, I know they didn't just put me on no bunch of water. Man, I know that ship. The ship is so big, Tiger. I don't even know how to react. It's so big. It's like a little small city. So you get there, you meet all these different personalities. You meet all of these dudes that some of them, just very eclectic. Some of them are very intelligent, very, very smart. Some of them are ex-gang members, ex-drug dealers, you got ex-everything coming in the military. You got Filipino, Spanish, Mexican, Black, Jew. You got all of them right there. And from Chicago, LA, you not separated. You all, and so in that form, I learned so many different formalities as far as how people regulate and carry themselves, men, young dudes like me, that I wasn't used to seeing, and so I met one guy specifically. I was going out one night and I had a couple of girls waiting on me outside of the ship. We get ready to go party, and because that's what I did. I was going to the enlisted club. We was a great party, and 3 or 4 women waiting on me. I, getting a little drink in my system and about to go, and I come back on the ship to give me some clothes, and me and this dude named Dog, who I lifted weights with, he kept rushing me. Come on, man, we gotta go. And this big other dude, about 6'7", dude named John Robertson. I met him, and he was like, "Hey, man, can I speak to you for a minute?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm doing something, bro. I'm about to. What's up?" Hey, man, and he started speaking to me about God. And so because I'm familiar with it, and I know I'm wilding out, man, because I'm already in there. I done whooped a couple of jokers already. I went to jail 4 times on the ship. I went UA about 4 times. Captain,
Wow.
had them pull guns, 21 guns down on me, and say, I was just wilding. So I was like, when he mentioned God, he said, man, there's something peculiar about you, and you're very peculiar. And I'm like, okay, what's up, man? So we talked about God. Long story short, I end up sitting. I was leaving. It was about 9 o'clock when I started talking to him. It was about 3 or 4 in the morning when I finished, and I found myself in a bucket of tears.
Wow.
Because
so you never went out, right, Montrel?
No, I never went out, and they waited for me. And they was mad at me, But at that point, I was just like, okay, this something is real about. Because again, I heard about God all my life. My mother raised in church, but I never paid attention to. It was just a deity to me. Jesus, God, it was. And so when I really started learning, I was like, okay, man, I need this. So it was at that point I became a licensed minister.
Wow. Okay.
And I studied. I became the leader of lay services, over 5,000 men.
Was this while you were still in the Navy, or was this
in the Navy?
Yeah. Okay.
And when I came out of the Navy, on leaving, I was already an ordained licensed minister.
Wow. Okay.
I had sung around in 7, 8 different countries via Westpac. I had met so many different nationalities, and I had seen poverty at its worst. I had seen death, but actually being in the war, saw some things that you don't even want to talk about. But outside of that, just the death shed and the bloodshed and the poverty in so many other different countries, I started recognizing, man, I'm glad to be alive after the stuff I see.
Right.
I'm complaining about this, I'm this and that, but man, I mean, the stuff that I saw kids, it's so bad. Kids eating feces and for dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, drinking feces. Oh. It's so bad. It's degrading. What I could tell you the stories, but it made me feel like, okay, I'm rich compared to
right.
And I didn't have a lot, but I'm like, just for my life.
Count your blessings, yes. Made you count your blessings.
At that point in time, you make a long story short, I came out of the Navy. I had the GI Bill. I went to college. Got married while I was in the Navy, so I was, had to take care of a family. Had my wife, and we had no kids yet, but I had a kid from from 17. So went to college, went to Free Will Baptist Bible College, and took up Bible theology, mythology and Bible theology, Hebrew Greek studies, and so at that point, just kind of fell into that. Started preaching around the city. Next thing you know, I get a call saying that Mike E wanted me to go on a road with it. Well, not at that point. I had started taking my keyboard to do interviews to try to get to the studio to get some session work because I wanted to sing. I had songs I was writing.
Okay.
Didn't have nobody to record them. So I started doing it myself. I just needed a studio. I didn't have no money though, so I had nobody to give me nothing. And so I started, man, I'm just basically almost living outside with my keyboard in the rain, in the woods, waiting to get opportunity to sing. And I had a guy that came and helped me took me to Bobby Jones and said, hey, man. And I walked in there, telling you, no lie to tell you, I walked in there with clothes that I had on for I don't know how many days. And it was some military boots that I had on with a vest, a white shirt, and some like silk pants, church pants.
Okay. And you were out of the service by now, right?
I was out of the service. Broke, didn't have no money. You don't get really paid a whole lot in the military. They pretty much take care of you.
Right.
But when I came out, I wanted to sing. I didn't want to go to work for nobody. I'm like, I done worked for all of these years. I'm not going to work and slave for somebody else. I was always entrepreneurial in my mind.
Right.
So I got out, and Bobby Jones gave me a chance. He saw me, heard me sing, and when he heard me sing, he was like, "Oh, we got you." So he put me right on. I cleaned, helped clean me up. My dude Darrett Sanders helped clean me up, took me to the store, bought me some clothes, and I wore that one outfit after they bought it. I wore that one. Even if you look back at the old Bobby Jones shows and stuff that I was on, you'll see that same outfit. You'll see it probably 3 or 4 times because I had it on every time because that's all I had to wear.
Wow. And so this was Bobby Jones' show. Is that what we're referring to? And you were playing?
Yeah, he's the first one gave me an opportunity to sing.
Okay.
And I came and I did the explosion. I sung with him and I did a Bobby Jones explosion. And from that explosion, John P. Key heard me. John P. Key, Andre Crouch, whole lot of other people. They gave me the opportunity to sing. And when he put that mic in my hand, it's as if something electrified me. And that was my opportunity to sing. And Andre Crouch kept on asking Bobby, who can sing in your choir? Who can? And Bobby Jones whispered in his ear, and I heard him. He said, him. His name is Charles. Call him Montrel. And he handed me that mic. And when he handed me the mic, Tanya, I'll tell you, it was nobody in my view. It's like when you run in a race and you try to win, you don't see nothing and nobody.
Your eyes on the prize, yeah.
Hey, my eyes, I was locked in, Tanya, and I took that mic and I gave it everything I had. And by the time I opened my eyes back up from singing, people were crying and people were screaming, and I really don't even to this day, unless I look at it, I don't know really what happened. I just sung my heart out. And from there, John P. Key offered me a spot in his choir, and Andre Crouch offered me a deal, and I didn't take the deal from Andre. Of course, John P. Key was stage rocker, so I went with John. And from there, I recorded a song with John called "Be Encouraged," which was on the gold record, "Show Up." And from there, things just kind of took off for me,
Well, thank you. That was, you walked us through everything I wanted you to walk us through. That was awesome. So we got where you got into the music, how it started. We're all there. Let me go over. We got a couple of questions and comments. Tina is saying, thank you for your transparency.
Appreciate it.
John Cunningham is saying, God brought me to the industry, wasn't my doing. So John is saying that. And Luther, who is the founder of the Fans of Unsung page and my partner, is saying, welcome to the forum. Luther's here.
Appreciate it, Luther.
And Tina's saying, look at God. He specializes. Yes, that's right, Tina.
Yeah.
People are praising God for what you just said. So I just wanted to let you know what some of the people are saying over here, some of the comments. Okay. So now here you are. You are in the music industry. You're with big names. John P. Key, Andre Couch was interested. You've been touring and singing with John P. Key. Yeah. So shall we jump over to commission now?
Yeah.
So tell us, how did so for those of you who don't know, Montrel took Fred Hammond's place in the group Commissioned. Tell us how that actually happened, because that's amazing. That and to we all know Fred Hammond, and you took his place. We know they wouldn't just get anybody to take a Fred Hammond's place. He's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
So that's very, very special. So tell us how that all happened. You coming to be with Commissioned.
Well, I was touring with this guy named Michael Wright, Mike E. Mike E was the old Commissioned guitar player. He was the first original guitar player for Commissioned. Him and his brother Earl Wright out of Detroit. Mm-hmm. When I left John P. Key, I came home. Again, wife was pregnant again. I tried to work a couple of jobs, but nothing. It's not that I was lazy. I worked. I worked, but I just knew it was a stronger calling on me. Right. I felt it, and I ran after that, and I met a guy named Michael Wright while he was in Nashville touring. He had just won 3 Dove Awards, nominated for 2 Grammy Awards, had his own record label called Big Doggy Records, which Reggie White, whom I met in high school playing football, the Philadelphia Eagles, Reggie White, whom died some years ago, R.I.P. to him. And I met Mike, and Reggie White was the owner of the label, Big Doggy Records. Well, Mike put me in the studio and let me do a lot of work, some stuff that I really wanted to do that was in my soul. So I picked up, I was playing the guitar, did my own guitars, did my own keyboards. Time had the MPC, people it was really heavy on the MPC. So I was master at the MPC, sampling and do a whole song, 3 songs in the MPC without from vocals to everything. So I used that, and I made 4 or 5 songs. I turned them over to Mike. Mike let Reggie hear them, and Reggie offered me a large amount of money to sign with Big Doggy Records. Well, in the midterm, I was just like, okay, I want to sign, but I really want to do my own thing. And I always thought that being with a label would sort of tie me down. So we talked, and Reggie, he said, hey, at that time, which was a lot of money, they were going to put like $500,000 into me, but they offered me like $50,000 up front, just cash, and I was like, what? I'm like, are you serious? And I'm sitting there talking to Reggie, shaking hands. He's like, don't talk to nobody else tonight. And if you know Reggie, you be like, okay. Reggie like 6'6",
Okay.
He's like, so, we talked, and I get up to sing with Mikey and everybody. That night, we was at the Dove Awards. And that night, anybody was there. Secular, from all the top of the Clarks. The Clarks is the wine and stuff. Anybody that was anybody in the industry was right there that night.
Okay.
So we were singing, and I had another just unexplained night. My range was incredible. My chops, my riffs, my tone, my excellency, my delivery. Every time they called on me, it was just like, wow. It was just unexplainable what was happening with my voice, And so at that night, Commission was there, and they happened to be looking for someone to take Fred Hammond's place, whom I met before getting up to sing. That was my first time meeting Fred, whom I was a fan of, loving from his project. I'll forget the name of it. I'm determined. I can't anyway. Love it. And so I was like, God, I just met Fred Hammond, man. I meet everybody, PB1, the CC1, everybody was there. And so I'm kind of in awe, man. And I'm singing. I really ain't thinking about singing. I'm thinking about all the people I'm meeting.
Right.
And so anyway, I come off the stage, and bam.
And you let me back up. You sang that was with John P. Key at that.
No, I was with Mike E.
Oh, okay.
We're at the Dove Awards with Michael Wright. I'm through. I'm out of John P. Key.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah. And so Commission sees me, and Marvin Sapp walks up to me as I'm sitting outside with Mike E. And he's like, hey, man, we Fred Hammond just left our group, and we're looking for a lead singer for the group. And I'm like, of course I knew Commission. I'm like, aren't you the lead singer? Because I'm looking at Marvin, I'm like, okay, well, aren't you the lead singer for Commission? He was like, yeah, but we're looking for another singer. We need a frog horn. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. He was like a frog horn.
Okay.
Somebody that can sing as well as Marvin and still go back and be smooth as Mitchell. Somebody that could be a cross between hard singing, church growling, and then come back and be Fred Hammond with the tone.
Okay.
So, in coming from John P. Key, I was just used to housing. If you look at Zaccardi Cortez, you'll know what I mean by housing, because that's kind of his flair. John is a houser, constantly, consistently. There's no taking a break with vocal, where it's just constantly, just housing up here. So that's what I knew how to do. And so going to Commission, I went upstairs and talked to Mike. He was like, look, man, you don't sing with Commission is like singing with Boys to Men and gospel, secular. Get a chance to sing. He said, man, jump on that. And I was like, well, Reggie told me not to. He said, hey, look, man, it's up to you. So I told Commission, give me 2 weeks to think about it. So in 2 weeks, they brought me down to Detroit. I did an interview. I sung. They had already had some people to interview with them. I won't say the names because the people might get mad, because they'll say, well, they picked him over me, and it wasn't that, but it's some pretty big names, and they end up choosing me. Long story short, they end up going outside. I didn't think I did very well. I was really so mad. I told Mitchell, I said, man, don't even take me back to Nashville. I'm walking home. I was so embarrassed of because my ability was much more. I was really hurt that I shined in the audition. And
so you thought.
So I thought, yeah, but they were like, they loved it, and they end up convening with Eric Dawkins to talk to him and see what he thought, because we were in the same age group. Commission was older than me. And, but Eric gave his okay, and so they chose me, man, and they flew me out. We started rehearsing. Next day, we was in the studio doing a record, Love Irreplaceable, where I got to meet Boyz II Men. Did a lot of studio time with Boyz II Men, a whole week, and we became very good friends. Me and Wanye, me and Sean, and Commission offered me a great avenue into the secular world, because they began to hear my name. And with that, I toured with Commission for 4 years off of that. And that became the best-selling Commission CD, as I understand now, of all the Commission CDs, number 7, all of them. Love Irreplaceable became the #1 selling Commission record ever.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. And you must have very high standards, Montrel. If your standard, you thought you did so horrible at that audition, but they thought you did great enough to add you to the group. So your standards, or you must be very hard on yourself.
Well, I really am, and that came from my mother, though, because my mother was a perfectionist. And when I say perfectionist, Tanya, a lot of people get, the perfection thing kind of messed up, because when you say I'm a perfectionist, that means people begin to think, or everybody's a perfectionist. But I'm a perfectionist to this degree, that I believe it should be done right.
Okay.
I don't believe in settling for. When I know that you have an ability that's greater than what you're throwing out, that's what I don't accept. Okay. When I know that my ability is right here, it's nothing to do with being better than anybody else, but it's what I expect of me.
That's good. Yes, that's good.
I was better than Marvin, better than Fred, better. People have their opinions, and I don't get tossed around in that. But me, I expected to do better than what I'd done. So when it came back in my heart and in my soul, I felt like, man, you could have did better. Well, why did you freeze up? Because I don't freeze up. I ain't never had that problem. I ain't never been scared. I ain't never been no scary type dude. I just don't have that issue. Even as a man, just as a man, it ain't nothing you can do to scare me. I just don't have that running through my blood. And so on this end with my ability, I was like, no, it ain't got nothing to do with arrogance. I'm totally confident in what God has given me, and I don't try to be nothing else.
Very good. That's good.
And so that's my level of expectation for me. I have to be the best I can be, or me not giving you my all, and this is what I was born to do. It's me cheating you, and I don't want to do that.
Well, I'm sure it was a great audition. I'm going to let you tease the people in just a little bit, so you can show them what you expect of yourself in just a minute. So now we got you to Commission, and now you decide to leave Commission. How did that come? Because that's a phenomenal group to be a part of. And you made the decision to leave. Tell us about that and what happened after you left.
Well, my decision to leave Commission was solely based on, I felt like I had given Commission all I could give them. We were touring, and we were still doing old songs. We were touring, and we were still doing songs that people loved when Commission started.
Right.
Not being able to push the new record, and that became old to me. I'm like, I'm still singing all of Fred's parts.
Right.
So from Love Is the Way, and which is great songs, but we had a new record, and I wanted to push that. Right. And we were not doing it. So it just became, I'm like, okay, we're ready to go in the studio and make a new record no time soon. Marvin Sapp was leaving, going to do his solo. He was having success with his solo and with his preaching stuff, and met a cat named Marcus. in Detroit, in Ypsilanti, in the show we was doing. Marcus came in and took Marvin's spot. So me and Marcus hit it off well. So we started touring a little longer, but I just knew my time was up, and so I just took the chance and I said, hey, I told Carl, I sat down and had a talk with him and said, hey man, I feel myself being called to a different level of ministry. And he took that as if, so you're saying you're going to do something better than what you have here, or you're going to start a church. And I'm like, no, I ain't saying all I'm saying is I want to do something different. And so even though commission is paying great, I'm living good with it, I got to go. I felt something different. I felt a different calling. So I left, and it was just hard times for me after I left. I had no studio again to work out of. So I started buying my own stuff and working at home and learning how to do things. And about the time I got a call, I met a guy named Darwin Hobbs.
I know that name. Yes. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, Darwin, good people. Mark Kibble, who was one of my good friends from Take Six, been friends forever, for the longest time. Mm-hmm. We were at his house doing a session, and Darwin was over there. So Darwin meeting me, he was like, hey man, my truck there, blah, blah, blah. He said, man, somebody's looking for you. I'm like, who? He's like, Ken Pennell from Benson Records. I'm like, what? So he gave me his number. He was like, man, he wants you to call him. So Ken at that time was working at Benson. He had went to EMI, Capitol Records, EMI. But he knew me from being with Commission when he worked at Benson.
Okay.
So he found out that I didn't have no deal and I was out. So we talked and he was like, hey, look, bring some of your stuff over to the studio. Let me hear what you're doing. And man, I took my stuff over there and he loved it. He was like, look, we have a studio here. Why don't you bring your stuff here and just work out of this studio? And I looked at the studio and I was like, oh my, you mean to tell me I can come work here every day? Because I stayed in the studio day and night, 19 hours out of 24. Probably an hour to sit down and eat and the rest of 2 hours of sleep, and then I'm back up. Hour to hit the gym and then I'm back in the studio. Mm-hmm. It was my only life. That's what I knew. So about 6 months working in the studio, making stuff happen, new songs. He saw me working, he saw me playing, he knew I was able to deliver.
Right.
A guy named Bill Herms who just passed recently, God bless his soul, him and his family. Bill Herms, who was the president of EMI Records, whom his father was the president before him, Bill Herms Sr., Ken Pennell offered me a deal. And it was forgive me, a hell of a deal.
Okay.
Like $1 million deal, for a gospel artist. And about a $200,000-$300,000 front publishing deal. Gave me just a lot of money. So the money was very good. But me getting to produce my own project was even better to me. It was more important than the money.
Right.
So he gave me all day. He went out and bought me all this equipment, everything I needed. Ken Pennell purchased it for me.
And this led to your first CD, which was entitled Chronicles
of the Soul.
Right. And you did very well with that first CD.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, platinum, gold. I mean, you see behind me.
Yes, I was going to ask you and you shared. Yeah. I see them shining back there. Okay.
Yeah, the singles and the platinum and the gold, and I sold a lot of CDs, a ton of CDs, and I toured I could actually still be touring off that record, but
what singles so people know?
A single called Free, which is what the video is on all over YouTube, and then there was another single called Oh What a Friend. Oh what a friend we have in Jesus, a friend that won't let you down. Oh, so a lot of people know that song. That was one of the bigger gospel ends of it. Mm-hmm. So the album did very well, and unfortunately, right when I had won the Canadian Grammy Award for a song I did on a girl named Sharon Riley's project called Life Is, which was a single cut. I think Lee, Fred Hammond, the whole Kirk. A lot of people produced the record, but my cut became the single, and I won a Canadian Grammy off of that. So
Congratulations. Yes. I
thank you. And
didn't
then
even know there was Canadian Grammy. So that's great.
yeah, and that was a big deal to me, And
Oh, absolutely. Congratulations. What an accomplishment.
Right after that, I won the ASCAP Writers Award from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and just a whole lot of awards fell in place after that. And
well, you mean they presented it to you, correct? You won the ASCAP Award,
right?
Writers Award for their same single, or was it? Or what?
No, that was for my record.
Okay.
For a record called J2K. After my first Chronicles, after Chronicles came out, I did another record called J2K, which I produced and wrote. Me, Kim Burrell, Commission, Anointed, the group Anointed, Ministander, all the urban gospel groups were on that project. I produced it called J2K.
Okay.
EMI allowed me to produce that.
Okay.
And so I won an ASCAP Writers Award from that record. I think the single I think it was Kim Burrell's Woman. Me and Kim Burrell did together as a duo.
Okay. So James Day, I think we answered your question. You asked, does he write and is he write for others? And he just answered that question for you. So we did get to it. And so now tell us there's a area in here. So you finished that and then you disappeared for a minute. For what, 10 years you had?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Tanya, life happens while we're having success, and I don't want to come to tears now, but life happens and just things you don't expect. And I had bought a brand new BMW off the showroom floor, and unfortunately, me and my wife and daughter were going to practice one morning, and my daughter died in the car accident. We were all in the car, but.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my daughter, she was 5 years old. She died at the car wreck, and actually my wife died too. But God brought her back, and she has amazing testimony about that. Yeah, the same time I was having success, my daughter died, my father died, my mother died.
My goodness.
And then right after my daughter died, my mother, my grandmother and grandfather on both sides passed. So it was just like, is this what I have to give for success? And I'm like, I just backed out. Tanya, I felt like I was being whooped because I was poor all my life. So I finally, you talking about you got some, I got money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? I got real legit money in the bank. I ain't talking about $100,000, $150,000. I got some money in the bank, and it don't mean nothing because I'm hurting so bad, and I'm looking at God like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? I don't got nobody else to blame, Tanya. All I can do because everybody that I would talk to about it is gone, and I'm looking at God like, man, you the only one I got to hold on to. And this is what you allow to happen to me. So I distanced myself from the gospel industry because when my daughter died, I was getting calls down. I mean, everybody came to the hospital. Kirk Franklin came to the hospital. I had the Virtue. I had CC Wines. There was a lot of people down in the venue, to give their condolences. But take 6. I mean, they were all there in Nashville, Tennessee. The news spread so fast, I didn't even know my daughter had died before the news knew she had died.
Wow. Okay.
It already went to London. It was already in Spain. It was already in Africa, Ghana. It was all over the world. And I'm like, what? And so it was just a hurting thing. And from there, I didn't know how to recover. So I blamed God. I cried so many nights, and then looking at my wife, almost crippled. I mean, and my wife is a gorgeous, beautiful model. And I was like, okay, this is not fair for her to have to be this way. And then I felt like the blame, I was driving when the car wrecked. I just felt like to blame, and I just didn't know what happened. And so,
Mm.
going on a hiatus, people were saying, "Well, when are you coming out with another record?" Well, for some reason, the industry didn't want to touch me no more. I didn't know what happened, but then I later learned, some things are true, Tanya, and I don't know, and I'm careful of how I say this. So,
Yes.
some people don't believe in as far as the mob and the mafia in the industry, but it's a true thing. You can go on X list and nobody will touch you. With me, I was kind of a hard head. I didn't want nobody telling me how to make my music. And so then when I got in concert, I would speak about certain things that people didn't agree with. But I was just trying to follow orders from the Bible. I would speak about some things that were taboo in gospel and Christianity, even though the Bible calls it sin, the gospel industry practices it consistently. So I spoke on those things, and me being a man and being a hard man and kind of a bigger man, and already feeling just some people feeling intimidated just because of the presence of my size. And then plus God there was what people call an anointing, but just an extreme amount of favor from God with my ability, and so that led some people to not like me, to not like what I talked about. They loved to hear me sing and perform, but they just didn't like the fact that I spoke about certain things. And so later on, getting out of that, I learned how to not be so extreme in delivery. And then I had to learn passion. I had to learn default. I had to learn reset, start over, and learn. I had to learn how to do what I'm doing now. I had to learn how to interview. I had to learn what to say and what not to say. I had to learn how to be candid. Then I had to learn how to not exaggerate the topic, or just some things that you don't know. And I grew as a man, and then I looked back and I said, "Wow, I see why." But I had offers from some different secret societies to do certain things and to make certain moves, and I denied them, turned them down. So that led me to a place where nobody wanted to deal with me, because you don't turn down $80 million or 40 million. You don't turn down those clubs, and you don't turn down offers from the brotherhood, and you don't turn down, and these things are going on, in the society. So I just didn't deal with it, and then I fell back, and now years later, I'm able to just do me, and God bless, I'm still in good enough shape and condition, and I still have my youth. I still feel vibrant, and I'm still here.
So let's talk about the main thing we got to talk about, your new project. So that brings you to the present, all the lessons learned, all that God wanted you to learn and guide you to. And here you are. And now we're into secular music now. We have a secular CD. Tell us about your new CD, your new project, how it came about, your inspiration for it, and making that transition.
Well, it's a record that had been, I've done 3 records since Chronicles of the Soul. Since I left gospel, I did 3 more gospel records. One called Soul Metal, which some people got it. It was big in New York. I didn't release it with a major distributing deal or nothing, so they couldn't have got it in stores. They really had to order it offline. I didn't push it too much either, again, because I was still going through the ordeal of losing people. But then I said Soul Metal, and then I did a record called Back to Back, which was me and a group called June that I had discovered in Ohio. And I have my own label called Oasis with a guy named Kevin Williams, who is my longtime friend and brother out of Columbus, Ohio. Me and Kevin Williams started a record label and produced a group called June. Craig, John, and Craig, Joe, a couple other guys. Amazing group. We did a record together called Back to Back, and Craig helped produce that. Craig Winfrey, and we did 6 songs apiece. I put that out, then came back, and I released another CD. I didn't release it. It was on BMG, and I didn't release it, and it was called just Montrel Second Chronicles. Never released it. So I still have it. Now, from there, I always had something in me that wanted to do love songs and music. I love hip hop. A lot of my life I rapped. You know, I was a rapper. I used to stand on the street and rap and could freestyle for real. You know, I really had that.
Okay.
So that was real, y'all. Trail think he a rapper. I didn't think I was no rapper. I was a rapper. That was for real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, they used to tell me, me and LL had a lot in common. You know, I don't know how to drink, but you know, I don't know. LL can't mess with me. Nah.
All right. Okay. Don't start no stuff on this forum.
No
You
stuff,
know it might get back to.
Yeah, we know L is the dog. Everybody know that. But anyway, so I had something in my soul. I love old funk, old Parliament, Barcades, old Teddy Pendergrass, the Blue Notes, you know, Donny Hathaway, Aretha Franklin, Carole King, James Cole, James Taylor. And I love a lot of that old folk music, and I love R&B. I love soul music. My main thing, I love soul music.
Right.
Love
Hence the name of your new CD.
Right. A Soul Conversation.
Yes.
Right. And so that you know, I had years of experience, you know, to pour into this record. That's why it's an 8-box set.
Wow.
Yeah, this is just the first. It's called Relationships.
Yes.
And it's an 8-box CD set that will turn into not just a CD, but just a little thing. I'm also creating right now a thing called the MMA, Music Media Audio thing, which is like a little phone. It's as big as a phone, well, as big as a thumb drive, but it has another little glass piece comes up out of it, and it shows the video, and you can right now it'll cost about $30. You know, it's called MMA, and you'll purchase it. That I think it'll be the next movement with where music is going. You won't see CDs no more after 2022. CDs will be gone. You can't get a CD player in the car right now. I just bought a 2020.
Right.
We don't even have. It's not even a CD player in it. So you know, this is the next move anyway. So you know, the record, A Soul Conversation, will be like an 8-piece box. Each CD having 10 songs. This one will be called Relationships. Next one will be called Soul Conversation Protest, which has a lot of songs dealing with 10 songs dealing with just the plight of the black man, the plight of, you know, where our country is. And then the next one will be called just A Soul Conversation, Funk and Soul. Okay. So, you know,
that's a lot of music, Montrel.
Yeah, this will be it for me, you know, that because I'm going in, I'm an activist, man, and I'm really going into other things. I'm really thinking about getting into politics and not to the point where I have to do certain things politicians do, but I really want to get into it on a degree where I can help my people, because we're in a bad state. We're in a bad state as far as recognizing everything. We do everything based on religion, and that should not be where we are after 600 years of impromptu enslavement. You know, we should be somewhere further than where we are. And so we have to sit down and have conversations with people from the Trilateral Union and the 13 bloodlines, because they're only there because we allow them to be there. And you can't make conversation without money. So that's why I'm trying to get my chips up.
Okay, very good. I like that. Okay, so I want you to. I really wanted to make sure we mention the new CD, of course, because I want people to know what's out there. Is there anything you want to? Do you want to sing a line or two from any of that for us, or whatever you may choose to? Because a lot of people have not. I know you did. Actually, you gave me a little teaser a few minutes ago. A lot of people watching this, especially on the Fans of Unsung page, because this is the new artist spotlight, have not heard you sing, and we're going to make sure we leave them with all your social media information. But you want to tease them? If you don't, it's okay. You gave a little teaser earlier.
No, I ain't got no problem with it.
I know you don't, Montrel.
And I've been in the studio now we're mixing and mastering a new record, man. So, you hear a lot of people say a lot of times, man, but I have no voice, but I kind of learned how a long time ago, Johnson, man, quit making that excuse. That sounds so weak when you a singer and people need, you cannot be like, man, I don't got no voice. So I learned how to quit using it. And it was when, it is what it is, because even though I expect a lot of myself, I always want the people that love my music to understand that I give my all. I want them to know my heart, and I want them to take the ride with me on the good days and on the bad days. I want you to be with me. So when you hear me on a bad day, it was just a bad day. I don't want to make excuses for it. When you hear me on a good day, you just know it was a supreme day, and the angels was passing over.
There you go.
So the first single is called I Like It.
Yes.
The song came about, just me just looking. It's relationships. Me looking at my wife, being like, man, I'm outside cutting grass, and she brings me some water, and she's walking back to the house. I'm like, boy, I'm finna put this lawnmower down. I'm finna go in and do some things. It was because I was.
This is a G-rated show here. This is G-rated.
And I'm like, I like it, and it was really like in my heart. I'm like, God, all of these years with this same woman, 3 kids later, the death of the daughter, and 27 years in, I'm like, man, she's still fine. She still got that when she walking, and then I'm still looking at her like, oh, I like that. And so I actually started hitting the song while I was in the yard cutting the grass, and it said, you'll hold me down when my mood just calling. At times I feel like you can read my mind. Oh, you get me right, and it ain't no stalling, baby. Hey, and I ain't never gonna beg for many old time. And oh, you call me manage, you say I don't like it. I take those clothes off, I get you hot. My mind goes on a journey. Every time that you want, you make me see, oh, I like it. Ooh, I like it. Go here, if you can read those thoughts I'm thinking, I wouldn't mind. You make me see, damn. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Montrel. I could tell you could feel it too. And if I'm not mistaken, you are playing all the instruments on this project as well, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm playing everything. And I don't want people to get it wrong. I don't play everything all the ways because I'm greedy, or I like to just play it. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do because you can't afford to hire some of the people that can play better than me. They cost a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's understandable, yes.
Sometimes, I just like, instead of waiting, like now on this project, I did get my boy, Marcus Cole. Marcus Cole, I allowed him because I respect his musicianship so crazy. Marcus Cole is one of the coldest, period, hands down, singing, playing, and arranging. Mm-hmm. So I did allow him to do some things. And believe it or not, my wife wrote some of the material on this record.
Wonderful.
But yeah, I'm doing all the backgrounds, all the majority of the backgrounds, and I wrote everything. But don't none of the stuff all sound alike either. So don't get it, be like, well, everything. No, it's very eclectic.
Yes, it is. I've heard some. Yes, it is. Well, I thank you so much. Now, Montrel, before we close, I want to make sure, you have some other things you're working on. I want to let people know. You have a clothing line. You want to just tell them about the clothing line, just a little bit of that. And then you have a production company. So just talk about those 2 things briefly.
Okay, yeah, we have clothing line. I have 2 clothing lines. One called Black Rose, which is the female end of the clothing line. This is very centric couture fashion, which is like, if you ever wondered what woman's couture looks like when the streets meet the Paris runway meets New York's Fashion Week, and then everyday nightclub or lay around nightwear for sort of, nightlife. That's what Black Rose looks like. It's very expensive, high-end urban couture at a reasonable price.
Okay.
And I mean, it's beautiful clothing. The women will love it. And it's from
okay.
And then you have the men's line, which is Jacaris. It's a taken from my eldest daughter's name, Janae, the J-E, and then my daughter that died, Carissa. And it sort of sounds French, but it's Jacaris fashion, which we make again. It's like the stage meets the runway meets the streets.
Mm-hmm. And I have seen some the pictures of very nice, very nice.
Thank you, Tanya. Tanya, it really is. I mean,
it is
really, and it's like very affordable. It's not. I mean, like some of the clothes, like a pair of my pants that I just got made, cost me over $300 to make them. But we're not going to sell them, of course, for that much, And we're going to the New York Fashion Week in February, which is their winter line time, and we're gonna display our new clothing line, the female and the male end. So that's one thing, you can look for, but you can look for it to hit the streets sometime in October, November.
Okay.
We're going to be we have a magazine that we're putting out called Legacy Magazine, which you will see a lot of the fashion in it.
Okay.
We're also going to be putting it, hopefully in Essence and hopefully in Oprah.
Okay.
I say this only because I just got some leads that there was an interest. So I don't know how that'll end up, but hopefully. But anyway, you'll see it online. You'll see it online. You'll be able to get it everywhere.
We'll be on the lookout.
Yeah, the shoes as well. The shoes. Yeah, and the shoes are made in Italy, so they're going to really be nice. Then we have the movie thing.
Yes.
A movie company called www.urbaniconentertainment.com, which is where we are making our own films now.
Very good.
www.urbaniconentertainment.com. Again, www.urbaniconentertainment.com, and you will be able to see, how nice it's going to be. The movie, we're working on a movie now where we start filming it in January called Project Black.
Okay, yes.
It's about a soul. It's about a soul singer who wants to create a legacy, but he does not want to do it in gospel music. And he wants to get the respect from the labels that all artists deserve without having to deal with the vultures robbing you. So it's going to be a great movie, Tanya.
It sounds interesting. Okay.
And I don't know. I think I maybe sent you. I don't know if I've seen you come.
I may have. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure we continue to support you. We will. Yes, Tina, we will. Tina's saying, please post the websites. We will do that. We'll definitely post the websites. If they want to follow you or find out more information about you, Montrel, please share with them where to go, your website. Okay.
Yeah, you can go. First of all, the website is www.mrblacksoul, MR Black, BLACK Soul, SOUL.com. www.mrblacksoul.com. And of course, Facebook, you can find me on Facebook. The handles to Facebook. Oh man, Montrel Darrett, Facebook, and then Instagram is Montrel Darrett _123. And then Twitter. I really don't even keep up with the Twitter handle. I don't. That's crazy. I know it, but
that's okay.
You see my daughter. No, I don't. But anyway, so then and other than that, I mean, just YouTube.
Yes.
There, YouTube channel.
Thank you. Somebody did just put it in the comments. So www.mrblacksoul.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Montrel Darrett, you can see his name, Montrel with one L.
Yeah, one L.
And then Darrett, you can find him. So let's support Montrel. Montrel, I thank you so very much for joining us this evening. I appreciate you and appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for being our first new artist spotlight, although you've been around
That's big to me. I appreciate you, Tanya. I appreciate you. You know,
My pleasure.
yeah, Tanya is an amazing lady, you all.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I'm serious. You know, my heart is with her. We're definitely going to be doing some amazing work together. I thank
Yes.
Tanya for even having me and thinking enough of me. She has a great heart, and I just want to do anything I can to make her keep helping me.
I will. I will. I appreciate you. It's been a pleasure. And make sure everyone, you can follow the KAMDI group, like the Facebook page, and go to the YouTube channel, which is actually under my name, Tanya Hawley, where you can see this particular conversation as well as all the other artists we've done and are going to do. So please support us and support the Fans of Unsung page. So on behalf of Luther, our founder of the page, and myself and the KAMDI group, we thank you, Montrel. We wish you the best on your new project. I look forward to hearing more from you. We will post the information on the Fans of Unsung page so we can keep up with you and support you there as well. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you again, and we will talk soon. Thank you, Unsungateers. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.